So here with Dan and Kathy Dunn, and you all have done a ton of work around the world. Tell me a little bit about how you got involved in that, and specifically your work within the Methodist Church for that.
Okay, so initially we were teachers in Wisconsin. We decided to retire early so that we could do mission work. So just before we were retired, we were trained by UMCOR to be long-term volunteers, which means we would agree to go somewhere for a minimum of 2 months or a maximum of 2 years. And then we went through an application process, we went through an interview process, and then we went through training, and then we saw the different sites that we could choose from to go to. And we worked that out with UMCOR.
So what were some of the places that you have been for work, and what maybe is a favorite place that you love to go to?
Well, we've been to Costa Rica, and that was with the United Methodist Conference, the Arkansas Conference, and we worked on a church there. It was supposedly the largest church in South America. Or in Latin America.
Built by volunteers.
Volunteers.
Wow.
Yes. And then we worked in France for 3 months with a couple and we built an office for them so that they could do counseling there, because she wasn't allowed to do counseling in the town because it was faith-based. Then we worked in another place in France, and that was a church camp. It was a Methodist church camp, and it was on top of a mountain, and it was they've all been very interesting experiences. One of our favorite in Europe was when we went to the Czech Republic, and there we did conversational English for 3 months, and that was really fun. Then we did a lot of different things in Arkansas and built a home for a couple that lost everything in a tornado. And that was with a team of people from all over Northwest Arkansas. We also liked staying in the United States and doing things close to home, and got involved in working at Sager Brown, which is an UMCOR mission in Louisiana.
I want to talk a little bit about Sager Brown. And would you also, I know we have a lot of new folks or people that haven't grown up in the Methodist Church, or even lifelong Methodists who may not know what UMCOR is. So could you fill in the gaps on UMCOR and then talk a little bit about Sager Brown?
So UMCOR is an acronym that stands for United Methodist Committee on Relief. And basically they're organized to mobilize volunteers to help when there's either a natural disaster or a human-made disaster. So it could be tornadoes, hurricanes, floods, whatever.
Fires.
So we got involved with Sager Brown, which is a distribution center for disaster relief for UMCOR. So UMCOR really operates it, but Sager Brown is the name of the site where they're located. And they're located about 100 miles west of New Orleans. And it's a campus that can house up to 130 volunteers, as well as they have a large cafeteria that can feed all the people that come in to volunteer.
And what kind of work do you do there?
Typically, a team will come in for a week. At Sager Brown, we've taken at least 4 teams down there from this church. And typically what they do is they work in the distribution center. So when all the supplies come in, they have to be organized and packaged correctly, and then put in on pallets and be ready to be shipped out as needed. So that's a big task that takes place. Another task that I've supervised is home repairs and building handicap ramps down in that area. And another in addition to all that, they provide a food pantry, and many of the volunteers go and volunteer at nursing homes and do social activities with the residents.
And when I'm there, I work in the office and sign people up for food assistance, and also if they have problems with their homes that they need people to come out, I sign them up for that. And it's based on financial eligibility, but there hasn't been ever anybody that has come that isn't well below the mark that they the cutoff mark. It's amazing how some of the people there are living. It's a very poor area, but very friendly, and we just love the people that we've worked with and the people that we've met through this time.
I would say that Sager Brown and Umpqua, that site is probably our favorite site that we've worked on when we consider all the projects that we've done. It is so well organized. There's something for anybody of any ability to
Any
do
age.
and feel that they're accomplishing something. But yet we're not overworked, so there's plenty of time for fellowship and to meet new friends from around the country, as well as to meet the people in your church that you don't know and become a team with them.
Mm-hmm.
You guys have taken groups from this church before. How many groups have you taken?
About 4, I think. And usually about 18 to 20 people have gone. So the last time we went, we were the last group there, and now there's
Before the pandemic.
Before the
pandemic. Right? And then now they're starting up the first week in March. Yeah. And so we have our week back that we usually went, which was the first week in February, which is really a good week. The weather, it might be rainy, but it's not bitter cold ever. And sometimes it's been wearing shorts and t-shirts.
So we'll
really
be taking, there'll be a sign up for our church, and we have identified that we need 20 people to go, and that will be in February of 24 will be the next time that we'll do that.
I did get a letter from Umpqua, from Sager Brown, just last week, and they're really emphasizing being very strict about that people need to be vaccinated, people need to be very careful so that they can continue to operate.
And even during the pandemic, Sager Brown still operated. They had a skeleton staff that helped distribute things because disasters were happening even though there was a pandemic.
Well, the pandemic was a disaster.
Yeah.
Right?
Sure.
Yeah.
And so they were still collecting supplies, and they leaned on the volunteers more from the local community at that time.
So it was the volunteers who lived close, or maybe some could come in like a RV and stay. But it was too hard to have people in dormitory rooms.
Yeah.
Because they are attentive to the safety, not just of their volunteers, but the safety of that community that's around them, right? That's
Sure.
a vulnerable community, and so definitely want to. And since they are a distribution center, and especially in those early days of the pandemic when we didn't know exactly how this was spreading, right? Mm-hmm. I am certain that they were very careful about how even sending things around the world, right?
We didn't know how long.
Yeah, because I don't know about y'all, but we were
Right.
sanitizing our groceries and all of that,
Yeah.
and so I know that there was great care because they, as a United Methodist entity, they practice do no harm, right? In addition to do good, and so I'm grateful for the work, and even though it kind of had to pause and sort of be very controlled in that space, I'm glad though that they're looking at having groups come back and that we're going to be one of those groups, right?
We're just like, we were really excited that they were opening. And also the people that have gone to Sager Brown when we went, they've been asking over and over, you know, are they going to open this year? No. You know.
So you mentioned that some of the work that's done there is the packaging up of the kits that go around the world. We collected the feminine hygiene kits, which is a new kit. Can you talk a little bit about the different types of kits that there are, what purposes they serve, and why we chose the feminine hygiene kit?
Well, there are the flood bucket. Well, I always call them the flood buckets. That's what they were originally called. But the cleaning buckets, and those are filled with supplies for immediate cleaning, not heavy duty, but just cleaning up some things that could be cleaned, I guess. And then health kits, and there were school kits, and I think that's about
Right.
all
So
that's left.
the reason we chose the hygiene kits was because at this time that was their top priority. And so we not only like going there and helping because it has an immediate impact, but also we get notices on what they need, and this is a way for our church to answer that call.
And Pastor Michelle came up with the idea, hey, March is the month of honoring Women's History Month, and so this would be a perfect tie-in. So I was impressed with your putting all that together.
We'll call the Holy Spirit inspiration, putting everything together. Let's call it that. And and these kits do serve in those moments like when there are floods and you just need to be able to start cleaning out places that are damaged, or for kids that don't have proper school supplies,
or also for women, because as all women know, things just keep going like they monthly do.
Right, exactly. Whether there's a disaster, whether there's accessibility, any of those things. And so to be present in those spaces, there's a lot of thought, I think, put into the kits and how they can be used. And they are shipped around the world, but they are also used in the United States.
Yes.
Right. And they have their own semis, and they just take out, I've always thought it would be interesting to be there helping get ready for a disaster, take the supplies, get the supplies ready, even though it's such a critical...
Well, and they're very intentional about it. When volunteers are there and they send a semi out, all the volunteers pray over the semi, and it's actually an emotional time. So the interesting thing is our church is putting together 100 kits, which is costs about $1,500, and that's fantastic that we could come together and do that. This past year, they sent out 45,000 feminine hygiene kits to disasters. So this is a really big operation, and as Kathy and I know firsthand, it is well organized. And for anybody that's interested in volunteering for it, you'll really feel like you're doing something.
Why, if you were going to share with folks why they should support UMCOR in just a few sentences, what would you say is a good reason, or a good couple of reasons?
To me, it's what my faith is all about. I love Jesus, and I'm thankful for the blessings and the life that I've gotten through being a Christian. And it calls me to action and doing things to help other people.
And the sign in front of Sager Brown says the Wesley pledge, which is do all you can for help me with this.
Yeah, do all you can, all the good you can, and all the places you can, all the ways you can. Just it's all good, right? Yeah. Yeah. And that encapsulates it. One of the things that I love about MCOR, besides the fact that, they do such good work and are well received. There's a few things I think it's helpful for people to know about MCOR. One, when you give to their disaster resources, like if you give to a tornado relief fund or something like that, 100% of those funds goes to the people that need the help. Because when you put money in the plate every week, just as a United Methodist, we're supporting the infrastructure that's needed, the MCOR employees and things like that. That's taken care of by our tithe that we contribute to the larger denomination, and part of supporting the larger denomination is supporting MCOR. So when you give specifically to those disaster reliefs, it goes directly to the people that need it, which is wonderful. Also, MCOR, at least historically, has been somewhere between the second and third largest relief organization in the world. And it's because all of the United Methodists are all pulling together and all supporting it. And because United Methodists are well respected around the world as, honestly, people that come in and don't try to proselytize right in the moment, but who just come in and help people get fed and know comfort and be safe and all of that. We're showing Jesus's love so we can go into places that are heavily Muslim. We can go into places whose governments don't necessarily support Christianity. They'll let Methodists in. And so that we can be a concrete expression of Christ's love in places that a lot of other folks can't. And I'm grateful for that.
Well, and of course, proud of the fact that they are usually the first in for a disaster and the last to leave.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I, in fact, remember when the Haiti earthquake happened.
Yes, I remember that.
We actually lost the head of UNCOR because he was there. Yes. They were meeting in Haiti. Doing work when the
Rab.
Yeah, I think that was his name. Yes. Yeah. When the earthquake happened, so we were already there and actually lost some of our people.
And two of the buildings there at Sager Brown are named after I think there were two men that died. Yeah, I think the other part is it just continually, when I'm working with people from our church, you just learn people's backstories and each other. You get to know people better, people that are from all these different churches that come from Georgia, and it's just we have interesting stories to share, and it's just always really heartwarming being in a situation where you're with all believers, and you learn from each other, and it helps build up your own faith.
I was working with a crew one time down there, and this guy was in his 90s, and he was helping us build the handicap ramp. And I said, "So tell me, why are you down here doing this?" And he said, "This is what as Methodists, this is what we're supposed to be doing, is volunteering when needed."
Mm-hmm. Yeah, being the hands and feet of Christ in the world, right? Yeah. Right. Well, I hope other folks are inspired and want to serve in this way and be one of the 20 people that goes next February and gets to know each other better and serves in profound and meaningful ways. But I'm also grateful for the people that gave to the kids and people that support MCOR all throughout the year, and the people that just give every Sunday. Yeah. Because you are supporting this work.
Right.
So if you want to know how to get involved more, the Dunns are happy to chat more. And you are going to leave right after church, after we finish packing the 100 kits on Mission Sunday, and you're going to take them to Saker Brown, correct? Yes. Correct. Right. And I know you guys are excited to get back down there.
And it'll be, because a few people have left and changed jobs and things like that, but there's a core group of people that are still there,
And thank you both for the work that you do and for your passion for this and for sticking as an advocate through the pandemic. And we are looking forward to all the work that is yet to come.
Okay.
But thank you, church, for everything you've done
Yeah,
too,
yeah.
for supporting
And
us.
remember, February 6th, I think it is. First week in February, 2024 is when we'll be going. So you'll hear more about it soon.
Okay, great. Thanks to you both.
All right, thank you.